on my lane, you all on my lane. You ain't overlooked, so get out the way. I gave you the book, I gave you the game. The boy gotta cook, the boy got a flame, Serving in the kitchen like you Nino. Plenty bitchin', whipping different flavors like a bistro. Kick it, dip it, flip it, keep it hunting like a C-note. Switching, keep it pimping every single place that he go. I got it. Lathan got the flame, Lathan got the flame. Boy, you know the name, get up out the way. Lathan got the flame, Lathan got the flame. Stay up out the kitchen if you ain't the one that's whipping, huh? Hey, yo, Lathan, man, cook them boys up something real quick, man.
What's going on, Bistro family, and welcome back to my channel. Now today we got the most amazing beef bourguignon inspired pasta. So you got 3 pounds of chuck roast cut up. Then we got 1 large yellow onion diced up, and you don't have to dice these anyway because they're gonna braise down. Then we have 8 carrots just cut into uniform pieces. Then we have 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, followed by I did like 8 cloves of garlic, but you can do less or more. It's pretty much up to you. Like, this is just a guideline. Then we have a bouquet garni with just a handful of thyme and 2 sprigs of rosemary. And then we have the wine here, and that wine is Barefoot Fruit Scotto, and that's a blueberry wine. And then we have some unsalted beef broth. Now, usually you use burgundy wine for Boeuf bourguignon, but today we're using some blueberry wine. So first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and season that meat. You see I switched the bowl because that plate was small to try to season on, but go on with a big helping of salt and freshly cracked black pepper. And you want to be generous with this because you're gonna sear this out often. You're gonna lose a lot of that seasoning in the searing process, so make sure you be liberal with that seasoning. And then we're gonna go on with almost 1/4 cup of flour. You don't want too much, but you want each piece to be coated in this flour, and that's gonna help you get a nice sear on this beef, as well as a little crust. So you just want to go on lightly with some flour. Like I said, that's 3 pounds of beef, so we did a little under 1/4 cup of flour, and then we're just going to mix it on all the beef until everything is coated and look almost a little pale whitish. And then we're going to begin to sear this beef in batches. Don't sear it all at once because, like I said, you want to get some good color on there and not steam it. So you see me there getting that good color on there, like I said, in batches. Make sure you got a single layer of beef, and each beef piece is touching that surface. All right, once you get done with all that beef and get it all seared, you're gonna have a bunch of fun at the bottom of that pan. Now that is flavor, remember that. So kind of cut your heat down a little bit because you don't want to burn that fun. But then we're gonna go ahead and get our vegetables sweated down. You're not gonna saute these much, you're just gonna sweat them down. Go on with a little salt to help draw some of the moisture in the onions. But yeah, just keep them moving in that pan. Don't add your garlic yet because you don't want to burn the garlic because that pan was ripping hot when we took that beef out. So we're going in with the carrots and the onions, and it's going to kind of cool the pan down. Plus we lowered the heat a little bit, and once you get those onions sweated down, go ahead and add your garlic. That is the perfect time to add that garlic and get that all mixed up in there. Like I said, you still got that beautiful fun, so the whole time you stirring, you want to kind of be scraping the bottom of that pan, trying to get some of that fun up. But if you can't get much of it up, don't worry about it because we're going to deglaze with that blueberry wine here and just a second. But before you deglaze with the blueberry wine, make sure you go ahead and get that tomato paste in there because you want to cook that raw taste out of the tomato paste. I think it's called like blooming the tomato paste. That's what we're doing here. Just making sure that that tomato paste is touching the bottom of that hot pan, and just touching the surface just to cook that raw taste out of it. And it kind of just brings it all home, just cooking that rawness out of that tomato paste. But once you get that tomato paste all bloomed, then we're going to go ahead and deglaze with about 2 cups of that blueberry wine or fruit scotto. Like I said, if you don't have this, you could use burgundy wine or some sort of red wine, but this right here just give you some very fruity elements, and it's fantastic. All right, once you get that blueberry wine in there, go ahead and scrape all those bits off the bottom of that pan. Everything should come up at this time. When you scrape in the bottom of the pan, it should be completely smooth at this point, and you're just mixing all that fun into this wonderful broth here. So just keep scraping everything up, because you want everything to come off of the bottom of that pan, because you want everything to braise with this beef when you add it in. But before we add the beef in, we're gonna after the deglazing, which we did here, we're gonna kind of let the wine reduce a little bit and cook the alcohol taste out of that wine, or cook the alcohol out of the wine actually. And once we get to this point, we're gonna go ahead and add our beef broth. And like I said, we're using that unsalted beef broth. You could use salted, but you want to kind of control your salt elements, and I preach that on every video. Use unsalted when you have the option, because you want to be able to control how much salt you're putting into a dish. But once you get that beef broth in there, go ahead and taste it. And like I said, you're going to need some seasoning. So go ahead and get you a good pinch of salt and put it in there. And you can add any other seasonings you want, onion powder, garlic powder, whatever. But just bring it all together. And then you're going to bring that heat back up to high, because you want this heat to come up to almost a boil, because we're going to add the beef in there. You want this pot to be completely hot before you put it into the oven to braise. So go ahead and add all your beef into the pan. And you're adding every piece of the beef back into this pan, and you're also going to add the liquid that accumulated on the plate from the beef. You're going to add that back in there as well, those pan drippings, because that's all flavor. You don't want to leave no flavor behind. So go ahead and add all your beef in there, and like I said, you're still bringing that heat up to a high simmer. And look at that pan juice, everything that accumulated from the beef resting, you're just adding all that back in there. And then you're going to go ahead and stir it up. Make sure every piece of beef is submerged in that wonderful braising liquid that you just created. And this is not a traditional beef bourguignon. I just want to let you guys know that it's my take on it, because we're going to take this beef bourguignon and we're going to make a creamy pasta out of it. So we're doing all this just to create this creamy pasta at the end. So stay tuned. All right, once you get the beef right there and you got it simmering really good, go ahead and add your bouquet garni. And from your bouquet garni, go ahead and close it up. And then we're going to place this into a 350-degree oven. Sorry about that. 325-degree oven on convection mode. We're going to place this into a 325-degree oven for 2 hours on convection mode. Just make sure that fan is spinning. All right, once we get it out after 2 hours, go ahead and remove that bouquet garni. And your liquid is going to be very thin. So we made up a slurry, and I just brought 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, mix it with 2 tablespoons of cold water, and we're just going to add this in here in parts until it's at your likeness. I wanted mine to have some sort of body, because we're going to just add heavy cream at the end and kind of reduce that a little bit. So this is pretty much your pasta sauce as well. So go ahead and add all that slurry in there, and once you get that slurry added in there, go ahead and stir it up. And be careful when stirring it, because you don't want to break up too much of that beef. You still want some good chunky pieces. And you just braise this, so it's kind of tender right now. So just be careful when you're stirring it up, because like I said, you don't want to break up too much of that beef. You want some textures in that beef when you go ahead and get that pasta together. All right, from this part, go ahead and set that to the back of the stove, and then we're going to go ahead and add our mushrooms to a hot pan. And I know I didn't tell you about this, but we just got 6 large mushrooms, button mushrooms, and we sliced them up, and then we added them to a pan of canola oil, not much canola oil, and then we're going to saute these down, because traditionally in beef bourguignon, this goes into that dish, but we wanted this in that pasta element. All right, once you get those sauteed down, go in the pan with about 1/4 of a cup of heavy cream. And then you're going to reduce that heavy cream down. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so fantastic. You're going to reduce that heavy cream down until it gets a little thick. And then you're going to go ahead from there and begin to add your beef bourguignon to this pot of heavy cream and mushrooms. So this pretty much is your pasta sauce. All right, and when it get thick, you're going to see at the end how we're going to thin that out. But go ahead and get everything mixed up and incorporated together. And I'm also going to season this with a little bit of slap your mama, just to add a little bit of heat to this and a little bit of extra flavors, that that good flair that we love in that slap your mama. So go ahead and season it up, and just be mindful, taste as you go. because you don't want to over season, but you don't want to under season as well. So our pasta sauce is ready. It's kind of thick, but don't worry about that because we're actually going to cook some pasta, and we're going to use some of that starchy pasta water to help thin out this sauce. All right, so we got some tagliatelle. This is some good organic pasta. I think they sell this brand at Whole Foods, but it's some pretty good pasta. But you can use pappardelle noodles. You can use linguine. You can use fettuccine. Whatever pasta of your choice you want to use, you can use it. But go ahead and get this pasta down, and this all depends on how much you want to cook. So I got 4 servings going into this pan or this pot, and I'm just getting it all incorporated. This pasta cooks anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. But since we're going to cook it in our sauce as well, so you want to go on the lower end and cook it for 8 minutes. All right, once 8 minutes is up, taste it. It's going to be a little al dente. Then you're going to go ahead and place that into your sauce. And then from your sauce, you're going to go ahead and add a little pasta water just to thin it out a little bit. And then go ahead and incorporate that pasta into that sauce. And like I said, you're still cooking this pasta in this sauce. So as the pasta continue to cook, it's going to absorb that good tasting sauce, and you're just going to have this fantastic pasta dish. By the time you finish with tossing it in this sauce, it'll be the perfect texture, the perfect doneness, and it's still going to have some bite, so it's going to be al dente as well. And when it started to tighten up a little bit, just going with a little more of that pasta water. Now you know how I do my pasta water. In every video we cook pasta, we make that water taste like the ocean. So salty pasta water, so you still got flavor. You're not just diluting the sauce. That pasta water is starchy and flavorful. So yeah, once you get it all mixed up, there you have it. The most incredible Boeuf Bourguignon pasta. So we're going to go ahead and get it plated up for you guys. So we're just going on to a serving dish, and we all ate from this bowl here. So for plating, I'm just piling it all up on her just to make it look really nice. And this is family style pasta here. All right, from there, you're going to get some more of that deliciousness in there. So we get more of the meat and the beef and the mushrooms and the sauce, and we popping that on top. All right, and then from there, gonna put some on there. Just pile it up, man. Make it look extra good for you guys. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and get a good sprinkling of fresh Parmesan. We're gonna grate that on there ourselves. If you don't got the fresh Parmesan where you grate it, get some of the grated Parmesan already and just pop it on there. But grating it on there yourself is you're getting that fresh good Parmesan, so you're getting that saltiness from it, and that, oh my goodness, it's just great pasta. All right, from there you're going to go on with some parsley, and then to make it look all jazzy and pretty, after the parsley we're going to go on with some microgreens. And you know, I like the micro kale, I like the micro radish as well, but the micro kale is really awesome right now. So we're going on with a little bit of that micro kale, and yeah, let's get that all on there. And there you have it, man. The most amazing Boeuf Bourguignon pasta inspired by Julia Child's recipe. I just wanted to give you something that was Frenchy and something that, you know, I was inspired by when I first went to culinary school. If you know anything about Julia Child, she is a mastermind and one of the greats when it comes to introducing Americans to French cuisine. So she's like a foremother. But yeah, man, I just wanted to pay homage to her with this awesome dish, but give my take on it as well. And it's a bit of a longer recipe today, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Hit that subscribe button, by the way, if you haven't subscribed already. Like, comment, share, subscribe. The most amazing Boeuf Bourguignon inspired pasta by the Bistro. Thank you, Julia Childs. Thank you. And thank you guys for checking this video out. I'll catch you next week.